Dear viewers, welcome to Noorsat Satellite Station and Telelumiere TV. Let's start with the headlines. Patriarch Theophilus patronizes the graduation ceremony of the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate School students in Jordan. Patriarch Pizzabella presided over the celebration of the 35th anniversary of the founding of the General Secretariat for the Christian Youth. We also have St. Paul the Apostle Latin Church in Jubaila celebrates the Feast of the Divine Ascension. Welcome back. Within the framework of his weekly Christian teachings, and as he habitually does every week, His Holiness Pope Francis welcomed the believers coming from all over the world to the Vatican, where His Holiness contemplated and said,
Most Holy Father, the English-speaking pilgrims and visitors wish to express to you their sentiments of deep respect and esteem, and to assure you of their prayers for your ministry as the successor of Peter. At the end of the audience, we will sing together the Our Father in Latin. His Holiness will then impart his apostolic blessing, which he extends in a particular way to the members of your families at home. He also intends to bless any religious articles you may have brought for this purpose. And in a special way, his blessing goes to your children, the elderly, and those who are sick. The following is a summary of the Holy Father's catechesis at the beginning of the audience. Dear brothers and sisters, in our continuing catechesis on the meaning and value of old age in the light of God's Word, we now consider the heartfelt prayer found in the first verses of Psalm 71. You, O Lord, are my hope, my trust, O Lord, from my youth. Sensing the growing frailty and vulnerability that come with the passing of the years, the psalmist implores God continued protection and care. In our own day, his anxious concern is shared by many of the elderly who see their dignity and even their rights threatened by the spread of a throwaway culture that views them as useless and indeed as a burden to society. In the face of this sense of frailty and uncertainty, the psalmist reaffirms his trust in God's covenant fidelity and his provident care. In every generation, the elderly can offer us a much-needed example of such perseverance in prayer and hope-filled surrender to the Lord. By their presence and example, they can open minds and hearts and inspire the building of a more just and humane society, one that respects all the stages of life and values the contribution of each of its members to the common good.
His Beatitude Patriarch Kyrios Theophilus III, Patriarch of the Holy City, sponsored the graduation ceremony for the secondary school students at the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate schools in the Kingdom. The ceremony was attended by Archbishop Christophoros Atalla, several diplomats, the graduates' families, and priests. Upon entering the celebration hall at the Royal Cultural Center, the students were greeted by playing the Scouts band. And after congratulating the graduates, His Beatitude announced that he had instructed the specialized committees to study some sites in the kingdom to build and develop advanced schools in Salt, Fuhais, Sofia, Ajloun, and Karak. The ceremony included the words of the Director General of the schools, Mrs. Lynn Danat, and the graduates. The choir of the Patriarchate schools presented songs from the Jordanian folk heritage. After that, certificates were distributed to the graduates. In the end, Mrs. Mdanat presented an honorary shield to Patriarch Theophilus III for his communication and support for the March of Science, Culture, and Education in Jordan. His Beatitude Pier Battista Pizzabella, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, presided over the festive Mass held by the General Secretariat for Christian Youth in Jordan on the occasion of the 35 years since its founding. The Mass that was held at the Rosary Sisters School in Marj al-Hamam was attended by the Patriarchal Vicar for Latins in Jordan and Archbishop Jamal Atwal, the spiritual guide of the youth, several priests, nuns, deacons, and a group of church activity members and youth teams coming from all over the kingdom. Father Atwal delivered a speech in which he said, "We live our faith filled with joy, nourished by the words of God and the holy secrets." In the homily, His Beatitude the Patriarch praised the wonderful efforts made by the Secretariat to serve the youth in all parishes, pointing out that his efforts expresses the sincere faith in Jesus and sincere love for the Church. It is noteworthy that the General Secretariat for Christian Youth was established in the year 1987 on the Feast of Jesus the King, where the youth celebrate the feast of their intercessor. and it is customary for His Excellency the Metropolitan on this feast to delegate a group of young people to serve their brothers in the youth through their work as members of the General Secretariat, which draws up an annual plan to various committees of youth members. In the presence of His Highness Prince Ghazi bin Muhammad, Advisor to His Majesty the King for Religious and Cultural Affairs and Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Baptism Site Authority, Prime Minister of Georgia Mr. Irakli laid the foundation stone for the project of building the Georgian Cultural Center in the baptism area. This came during the guest's visit to the baptism site, accompanied by the Minister of Tourism and Archaeology, Naif Al-Fayez. The visit included the site of Mar Ilyas and the cave in which John the Baptist lived, and the ancient churches on the site. The Director General of the Baptism Site Authority, Engineer Rustam Mekijyan, gave a brief about the important religious events witnessed by the site of Mar Ilyas. A divine liturgy was held in St. Charbel Maronite Church in Amman on the occasion of the end of the Marian month and the celebration of the 25 years of the Maronite presence in Jordan. The celebration was attended by the counselor of the Lebanese embassy in Amman and several parishioners. In the sermon of the Mass, Father Suwaid spoke about the Marian month and the faith virtues that the Blessed Virgin possessed, indicating in his sermon that our Virgin Mother remains the sure help and fortified refuge for each one of us. At the conclusion of the liturgy, which was dominated by an atmosphere of reverence, the participants performed a ceremonial session in the churchyard carrying the statue of the Virgin. After receiving the concluding blessing, the attendees congratulated Father Suwaid on the silver jubilee of his ordination to the priesthood. Noorsat Saralit office in Jordan congratulates Father Suwaid on the silver jubilee of his ordination as a priest on the altar of the Lord, wishing him continued health and distinguished giving. Her Royal Highness Princess Basma bin Talal, President of the Jordanian Scout and Guide Association, inaugurated the permanent exhibition of pictures of the history of the Scout movement, which was organized by the association on the occasion of the celebration of the Kingdom's 76th Independence Day. At the opening ceremony, Her Highness stressed the importance of this exhibition and what it reflects of the heritage of the Jordanian Scout movement, calling on the movement's members, whose number exceeds 75,000 Scouts and Guides, to belong to the association and to its voluntary and humanitarian mission. In turn, the Secretary General of the association, Mazen Al-Hamoud, stated that the association worked on collecting photographs that mark the march of this movement since its inception. At the end of the ceremony, several members of the Scout Association sang Your Independence, Jordan, and the Scouts and Guides Anthem. On the occasion of proclamation of His Holiness Pope Francis of Brother Charles de Foucault, a saint in the Catholic Church, an evening of prayer and spiritual hymns was held in the Church of De La Salle College in Amman, in the presence of Father Rashid Mistrih, the Franciscan, the mentor of the religious orders in Jordan, and Bishop Maroon Laham, Father Zaid Habbabe, head of the Chaldean Church, nuns, and a group of believers. Brother Charles was drawn to the life of Jesus in Nazareth and saw spiritually in it, and not just a place, where the saint lived a life combining prayer and intercession before the Blessed Sacrament and his presence as a brother and a friend to every person who knocks his door. He wanted to live this spirituality among the neglected sheep, so he went to the desert of Algeria and lived among the Tuareg tribes of Christians, Muslims, and Jews. He hoped that they would see him as their brother. Pope Francis cites Brother Charles' experience about universal brotherhood and said, Charles's dream was led and fulfilled by his complete surrender through God, who likened him to the marginalized and left in the depths of the desert. His Holiness expressed his hope that God would inspire each one of us with his dream. At the end of the evening, which included a display of pictures from the March of St. Charles, the attendees exchanged congratulations on this occasion. An official ceremony was held in the Omani capital Muscat to inaugurate the church of St. Harith bin Ka'ab al-Najrani during a prayer of thanksgiving presided over by Patriarch John X, the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Antioch. Archbishop Ghattas Hazim, Metropolitan of the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of Baghdad, Kuwait, and its dependencies, and a group of bishops and priests, along with the representatives of the Omani Minister of Endowments, Mr. Ahmed al-Bahri, and a crowd of officials and believers from all over the diocese participated in the Thanksgiving prayer. In his speech, Archbishop Hazim affirmed that Oman is a country of love, peace, brotherhood, tolerance, and coexistence. These are the rules established by the late Sultan Qaboos, who offered a plot of land to build this church on. Amid a joyful celebration and a remarkable pastoral presence for the parishioners, the Latin Church of St. Paul the Apostle in Jubeha revived the celebration of the Feast of the Divine Ascension in a divine liturgy presided over by the parish priest, Father Samer Mdanat. In the sermon of the Mass, the Father spoke to the attendees saying, "This is the historic day on which Christ ascended to heaven in his immaculate body. This is the turning point from faith in the visible Jesus and Jesus who can be seen with the eyes of the believers," stressing in his sermon the necessity of perseverance in prayer and constant presence in the church. For the sixth time in a row, the Old Amman Neighborhood Residents Association inaugurated the Jara Market in partnership with the Greater Amman Municipality and other authorities, where the market included traditional, popular, and diverse crafts. The association announced that it was keen this year to intensify the participation of the Jordanian governorates, with its vision of providing an opportunity for owners of small projects and home workers to contribute to raising the standard of living for craftsmen and women of the local community, as their home and handicraft products were displayed in the market during the ceremony. The association also indicated that it has modernized the children's area by adding new games and expanding the area designated for them. Jara Market aims to empower women and enhance cultural, artistic, and tourism movements in the capital by adopting projects and initiatives aimed at serving the local community and improving the life of individuals and families. Here, dear viewers, we have come to the end of our news, and those were the headlines. Patriarch Theophilus patronizes the graduation ceremony of the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate School students in Jordan. Patriarch Isabella presided over the celebration of the 35th anniversary of the founding of the General Secretariat for Christian Youth. St. Paul the Apostle Latin Church in Jubeha celebrates the Feast of the Divine Ascension. For more information, please visit our website www.noorsatjo.org. Thank you for watching. Until we meet again, have a good day.